Between concrete walls, there's a place for us where we could go, where we could be alone. Between city lights, we don't have to hide. I wanna go, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in our secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? I can't understand why we can't hold hands, but they don't know what we have is real love. Aren't you sick and tired of having to hide? I know a place, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in our secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow?
What's up, everybody? I'm Joshua Bardwell, and you're going to learn something today. You're going to learn, boom, head cam. You think I was going to forget? I was looking over at my preview of the live feed, and it was like, why is my head cam not up? And then I was like, I have to do that. I mean, Alex is doing a good job. Happy Sunday, everybody. It's time for some Q&A. It's time for Joshua Bardwell to do some live streaming. And as always, good old Arnold Palmer. How did I make it today? Oh, it's good. Oh, I brushed my teeth just before the stream, and mint and tea, not so good. But I thought I would. Here you go, guys. Here you go. Hang on a second. Little Joshua Bardwell ASMR. I hear ASMR is the new hotness on YouTube, so here we go. Gonna pour tea on my microphone. There we go. And okay. No tea on. Okay. Oh, yeah. I'm always wondering what the next big thing for me is going to be. Do you think it's ASMR? Hello, Airreal FPV, Scotland. The new hotness. Rick Bent says, "Welcome to 2014." Yeah, that is a good point, Rick. Okay. Vasco Baloo says, "Hidden commercial soda stream." Let me tell you what, I'm always hesitant about like doing any kind of sponsorships with people in the industry. Like, I mean, obviously I have products that are made with various people. That's a little different, but just like a product, if I make a product like a motor with Get FPV, that's easy. I had a particular motor I wanted and they made it for me and now we sell it. right? So it's pretty straightforward. But like it's a straight sponsorship where like you just give me money and I go, this is a good product, you should buy it. I don't really do that. But SodaStream, Mio flavor squirts. Like I'm not compromising my integrity as a reviewer if I get sponsored by SodaStream, because what they do, I'd shill for SodaStream or Mio. You guys wouldn't think less of me, would you? Okay, guys. Okay. Oh my goodness. Got a couple things we're gonna do before we get into the Q&A. By the way, this is a Q&A. I'll give you my spiel about the Q&A in a minute. But a couple things we're gonna do before I start doing questions. I see questions already coming in. Jason, I see your question. We'll get to those in a second. Let me get some announcements out of the way. First of all, which I don't even know which announcement I should start with. Okay, here we go. If you guys don't know who Michael Rollins is, Michael Rollins, I call him the Larry King of FPV. He does these cool long-form interviews with people in FPV. Michael Rollins is his name. The least I could do is link to his freaking page. I'll paste a link in there. He did an interview with me. The interview just went live this morning, the first segment of it. And if you want to check that out, don't go right now. Don't leave right now. I'm not supposed to. You're not supposed to do this as a YouTuber. You just, I should wait till the end, but no, I'm terrible at that. So, number two, I want to let you guys know that at 2 again, never tell people about things that will make them leave your stream, but at 2 p.m. today, in other words, in 1 hour, the very first DRL race is going to be. It's going to be live on NBC if you have NBC, if you have, like, television. I think they're streaming it. I can't exactly figure out where to watch it on stream. If anybody knows, please paste it in the chat. I'm good. But wait. I will not be watching it today because tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern, 2 hours before my usual live stream, hang on, I am going to be doing a live stream with Alex Vanover. Yeah, I also think it's being streamed on Twitter, Troy, but where, like, is there like a link or what? So tomorrow at 6 p.m., I am going to watch this stream. I'm not going to watch it today. I'm going to wait so you guys get my fresh reaction. Me and Vanover, obviously, he already knows what happens. But we're going to watch it. I'm going to react to, it's going to be like a react video, but instead of me, it's also going to be kind of like a behind the scenes, because, like, I'll be able to talk to him and we'll BS about what happened and so forth. So he said he's not going to watch it either. Obviously he knows what happened because he was there, but he's not going to watch it. So 6 p.m. tomorrow, it's linked on my channel. Look forward to that. So I'm going to keep streaming today. I hope you guys stick with me through the stream. If you leave at 2 p.m., I understand. You could always just watch it an hour later, 3 p.m. though. I'm just saying you could do it. Anyway. Can I just say how freaking cool it is that at 2 p.m. on Sunday on freaking NBC, not like ESPN3 or anything, on freaking NBC, there's drone racing at 2 p.m. on a Sunday. Holy, what is the world coming to? License to Drive, I hope he's good at not dropping spoilers. Yeah, obviously I think there have been several races. I'm sure he's under contract under pain of death to not spoiler results, so hopefully, yeah. Troy Glossop wants to know if Vanover thinks he's faster than BMS Thomas. BMS Thomas won the International Open, and Vanover did not. I don't know if Vanover ever raced him head-to-head, if that brackets worked out that way. So, okay, so those are a couple things I wanted to get out of the way. Some questions coming in already. Let me tell you guys what the deal is in case you're new here. And if you're new here, welcome. Welcome to your first JB Q&A live stream. Here's how it works. You ask questions. We're here in the chat. Yep. I answer as many of your questions as I can. The questions go by so hot and fast that I can't answer them all. Hello, Spider FPV from Wales. Hello, Tom Lorth from Austria. Oh, and unfortunately, while I'm streaming my you can see the messages that normally get moderated. Let's just get rid of that. But if you want to make sure that your question gets called out, you can hit that $sign. You can send me a super chat. Thank you, Yoshi FPV, for €5.49. And I will make sure I get those questions. Almost always. I almost never miss them. I do miss them sometimes. Also, here on the left, hello, patrons. These guys over here in this Discord server are my patrons. And I'll be monitoring their conversation as well. If you want to be one of them, you can join my Patreon. Down in the video description, there's a link to my Patreon. When you join up, one of the things you get is you get access to my Discord server where you can, well, basically. Okay, so I want to get a couple questions out of the way that I saw going by before I forget them. One of the questions was, what do you think of the closing of UBAD? So UBAD, the maker of the LaForge module, the very first... Was it the first? I mean, it was certainly the first commercially successful LaForge FPV module for Fatshark. There used to be that you just have the Next Wave module, and it was kind of crappy, and that was basically it. There was a third-party module, the RX5808 module, and Shay Ivey, who UBAD ended up hiring, was one of the main developers of that. There was a time... it's funny, but there was a time when I was like, how much better could this thing really be? I mean, honestly. But is it all a bunch of hype? But they were in business for a long, long time. I noticed when I did my last roundup that they hadn't updated the firmware for the LaForge module in like a year, and I thought, that's not a good sign. And then shortly after I did that module test, they actually announced that they were closing their doors. And it's always sad to see a titan of the industry go. I can say that, think about LaForge was around $110 for a LaForge with a diversity module. I can't remember if that price was with the 3D printed doors or not 3D printed, with the injection molded doors or not, but it was around $110. And I can tell you that when Rapid Fire came out at a price of about $140, $150, LaForge was in a weird place, because here's Rapid Fire at $150 for the premium guys, and there's Clearview up there at $300, but let's not talk about that. And then down here there's TrueD at a price of like $70. And it used to be that if you wanted a module, you would either spend $70 on a TrueD if you were kind of more on the budget side, or you'd splurge $110 for a LaForge, the big boys. And to be fair, some people felt that the performance difference wasn't there. TrueD has always had its advocates, and there were people who felt that it performed just as well. That's not a question we're going to get into right this minute. But when Rapid Fire came out, I think it really put LaForge in a very weird place. Like, no longer was LaForge the splurge option. Now Rapid Fire was the splurge option. If you're going to splurge $110 for a LaForge, you might as well splurge $140, $150 for a Rapid Fire. And that really, there was no way LaForge could like raise their price. And so they basically, I feel like they got kind of shut out. I think Rapid Fire was the death knell for LaForge. That's my opinion. So it's sad to see them go. But, that is, I mean, that's life. That's competition. That's competition. And it's sad for them, but it's better for customers. And I mean, it's not good for, don't misinterpret what I just said. It's not good for customers that LaForge is out of business. That is absolutely not what I was trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that competition that brings better products at lower prices to market is good for customers. And sometimes that means that a company goes out of business. They got out-competed. And that's unfortunate. But in the end, I think it's good for customers. So, okay. I do. 661 FPV says, so Rapid Fire kills LaForge. I do think in the end it was Rapid Fire that was the nail in LaForge's coffin. LaForge was doing very cool stuff with their firmware and with their desktop apps, but the price point that they set for themselves... So LaForge, I mean, they dropped their prices when Rapid Fire came out to be more competitive with TrueD, but I think it was... I also think that the fact that it was a split module, that a lot of people sort of were not big fans. When your choice was Next Wave or LaForge, then the fact that it was a split module and you had to run a wire was like, oh, okay, well, do what you got to do. But there got to be more and more, and TrueD X, is another one, more and more really good diversity modules where you didn't have to do that, and I think it kind of pushed them out. Okay. So I want to do one more sort of public service announcement before we do more questions. I will do more questions in a second. A guy reached out to me today, and he said there are two types of messages that I never want to get. It means that it's always sad when I get them. One is, I just cut myself with my quadcopter. And guys, don't send me pictures, please. I don't need to see your bloody injuries. I'm sorry you cut yourself. Don't be a dumbass. I don't need to see it though. But the other kind that I hate to get is people who have a lipo fire. And semi-regularly somebody reaches out to me with a picture of their house or garage or whatever all burned up, some worse than others. And they say, I just had this happen to me. Holy shit, I never thought this would happen. Please get the word out. And I'm like, is the word not getting out that lipos are dangerous? I think the word is out. Sorry you didn't get the message. But I always feel really bad. And this one person today, he said, oh my God, here's a picture of my lipo fire. He said, it's the second one that I've had. And I was like, you had 2 lipo fires? Because most people don't have one. And here's what I'm not trying to pick on this guy. The freaking guy's house, like half his house burned up. So really, it's not a time to kick him when he's down. I think he feels about as dumb as you think he ought to feel for having a lipo fire. But here's the thought I had. What causes lipo fires? In the macro sense. Because got a lipo in my phone. Doesn't light on fire. Mostly. That one Samsung had a problem. But my point is, I got lipos. I got a USB charging bank. I got lipos in my phone. We're surrounded by lithium batteries that don't light on fire almost ever. Freaking Teslas are full of lithium cells, and they mostly don't light on fire. Why is that? Why is it that these batteries that we use on our quadcopters more often than they should light on fire? And the good news is that I think the answer is it goes down to the way that we treat them. And that's good news because it means that we are in control. If you were to take a lithium battery from a quadcopter and you were to charge it at 1C and discharge it at whatever, a couple amps, and you were to do that, you could do that 500 times and it would never light on fire, ever. The issue is that I found out this guy who had this lithium fire, the battery that lit off had been discharged down to 0 volts, and he had recovered it by charging it on the nickel metal hydride program. You know how and it was a really big, it was like a giant 5,000 milliamp hour 6S battery, real expensive battery, and that's why he recovered it. And he was like, oh, I saved it. The reason that these batteries light on fire is, at least in part, maybe mostly, because we abuse them. We smash them into the ground. We damage them physically. We over-discharge them. And a reason I want to point this out to you guys is that don't be cavalier about that stuff. If you have a battery that's damaged or over-discharged, that is the one that, like, one time out of 100 or one time out of 1,000 or maybe one time out of 20, it's going to light on fire and burn your house down. You are in charge. You control this, because this guy will never light on fire and burn your house down. Okay, so a little PSA about lipos. Tumbleweed 30 points out phone batteries are lithium ion, not lipo. They can still, yeah, no, I know, you're right. It's a little bit different chemistry. But again, I feel like if you have a healthy lipo, I feel like the ones that light on fire, usually it is because they have been abused or damaged in some way. So my point is, look for the warning signs. Batteries will usually give warning signs that they're going to go. I have a video about, is it safe to charge? And don't be casual about it. No amount of money is worth burning your house down. Okay. Let's get some more questions now. All the PSAs and all the announcements are out of the way. RB says, one cell goes really low sometimes. Chuck it. RB, if you have a pack after you've discharged it, one of the cells is much lower than the others. It means it's the internal resistance of that cell is significantly different. And here's the problem. When you charge, that cell is going to take forever to come back up, and the other cells are going to take wear while your battery is balancing. When you're discharging, that cell is going to get much lower than the others, and it can go, the cell that is damaged can go below 3 volts, even when the others are like above, like at 3.8. And so you can have one cell going below 3 volts without ever knowing it and taking damage. Yeah, if you have one cell that is way, way out of balance with the others, personally, I would discard that battery. Let's see here. Hot motors. 1407 motors. Stefan Heimpel. Hot motors on 14. What props are you using, Stefan, and what kV? You always got to, whenever you're talking about motors, you got to tell me the size of the motor, the prop, the kV, and ideally the all-up weight of the quad would be useful. Killcoin FPV, 1700 kV or 1900 kV for 6S. Depends what you're going for, Killcoin. 1700 kV is going to give you, like if you're trying to build a longer range cruiser or a 6S freestyle that mostly kind of emulates the performance of 4S, 1700 kV is going to do better. 1900 kV, though, is going to give you a little more punch and a little more pop at the expense of amp draw. However, I would go 1900 kV every time, because if you go 1900 kV and you just use a little bit of a throttle limit, you could just dial that back to 1700 and it'll basically be the same. So the higher kV actually gives you a little more flexibility. Jake asks, can you charge LiPos of different C rates? Jake, you can. When you're charging the LiPos, in general, you're charging just at 1 or 2 C. So the C rate is not going to substantially affect the outcome of the charging process. You want to be a little careful, but I think overall, if you're mixing like a 70C, an 80C, a 90C, and a 120C, nope, it doesn't freaking matter. I mean, if you had some battery that was like a 30C, it's like just such a different cell, I might hesitate. But yeah, you can, yeah, it doesn't matter because you're charging slowly. Let's see here. Motoko Kusanagi says, my newbie drone camera is only showing black and white in my Fatsharks, and on a handheld monitor it's color, but it stops after a bit. What's going on? Motoko, I would suspect the camera. Using the second monitor is a good troubleshooting technique, using that process of elimination. But I would probably suspect the camera before the VTX. That's just my guess. Mark R says, what kV should I go for on a 2.5-inch micro build weighing 125 grams with battery? Well, this is the full speed. It's an 1106 4500 kV. Seems to fly pretty good. What I always do in cases like that, Mark, is I try to look for ready-to-fly and bind-and-fly kits. Then I look at what those manufacturers are using. That's how I sort of dial in my perspective on these things. I mean, I think that micros are getting bigger and bigger, and I think I'm going to try to gain more experience and knowledge in the 2.5 and 3-inch domain. Right, if you ask me a question about 5-inch kV, I just know it off the top of my head. But for these guys, I don't feel confident yet. But the way that I learn these things is by looking at what other people are doing and saying. Or obviously, you could just fly 50 quads, but most of us aren't going to do that. So I would say try emulating this guy. This prop is the, holy crap, I can't read this. Hold on. 2535R. What are you going for? 2540. That's pretty close. And it's 4S for the record. Well, you can't do kV without voltage. Hello, patrons. Let me jump over to the Patreon here and get some questions out of the way there. The Boot says, in your VTX comparison, where would you rate the Strix Hoot antennas that you used? I like the Strix Hoot antennas. I think they have very good RF performance. They seem to be built pretty solidly, and I love that the whatever coaxial cable they use on those is super durable. It gets really bent up, but it doesn't break. As far as RF performance goes, I feel like the Strix Hoot is decent. The thing is, it's really hard in a in a field test to test antennas. It's pretty hard to see the difference in antenna performance in a field test unless there's just a drastic difference. And the thing is, if you're looking at the stock Attitude V5 antenna versus the Strix Hoot, I think what you're seeing is that the stock Attitude V5 antenna, I think it comes with a Fatshark Spironet. The Fatshark Spironet is actually a pretty decent antenna. That's what you're seeing. So, but I don't like its durability. I don't think it's very durable. So if you look at the stock Fatshark antenna and the Strix Hoot and you go, well, I don't see much difference, that doesn't mean the Strix Hoot is bad. It means the stock Fatshark Spironet is a good antenna. Wow. Tumbleweed 30 says they're pretty durable. Holy crap. Oh, sorry, wrong window. There we go. Tumbleweed 30 says this is a Strix Hoot of Tumbleweed 30. I cannot imagine how you managed. I've beat the dickens out of mine and have not managed to pop one open like that. Oh, hey, nice motors, by the way. Yeah. Nice going. Okay. Got a bunch of super chats coming in. Let me jump on those super chats and get those out of the way. Thank you, folks who are supporting me in that way. I really do appreciate it. Oh my God, there's more than I thought. Okay, Yoshi FPV. I tried to install my Maytech buzzer on your flight controller. It's so quiet. The buzzer should be loud. I soldered it. Here's what you need to do, Yoshi FPV. On my flight controller, for reasons going back to history, what you need to do is, yeah, that's it. You need to do set beeper underscore frequency equals 0. On the JB flight control, why is it not like that from the factory? No comment. You need to do set beeper underscore frequency equals 0, and that will fix your quiet beeper. That's the thing, Yoshi, that if you haven't done that already, that's what you need to do. Tim Mack, thanks for $2. Bob Men, thanks for €2. Have you seen the video I sent you on Facebook? I don't know. I always say, just reach out to me. I'll try and help you. There is one problem, though. Here's the problem. So when I have two pages on Facebook. One is my quote-unquote business page, which is, if you message me on there, I just get the messages instantly. And one is my private personal account, which you are also welcome to message me on. But the problem is, when you message me on my personal account, if you haven't contacted me before, it throws you into this other message of filtered messages. And I sometimes don't see those because I forget that exists. I'm just looking at my messages and then I clear them out and I'm like, yes, I'm caught up. So if you message me on Facebook and I didn't get back to you for like a week or at all, probably you messaged my personal account and it filtered it out. I apologize for that. Bob Men, I don't know if I've seen the video I sent you on Facebook. As of this morning, I thought I was caught up on Facebook. The other thing is there's various ways, like you can post to my page, I think, and I hardly ever see those. Just Facebook has too many freaking ways to. So I apologize if I haven't gotten you. You can always email me at the end of the day, I guess. Wombat FPV, thank you for $10. No question. Just thanks for being some nice words. Fury FPV, thanks for a pound. Want to get fly 222. Thank you. I get no questions, guys. Okay. Thanks for the contributions. Bubby FPV, thanks for $5. Can I parallel charge a 1300 Forest and a 1500 Forest at the same time? Yes, you can. You can mix different capacity and C rate. You cannot mix different voltages. That's what the limit is. Ryan O'Keefe, Fatshark HD FPV. Can't know anything or can't say anything. Ryan O'Keefe, Fatshark is going to send me their Bite-Frost digital HD FPV system in the next 2 weeks. I'll be testing it, and I'll let you guys know what I think. There's nothing to know right now because they haven't sent me one. I mean, I know the specs the same as you do. I know the things they've said publicly. The thing is, though, with this kind of product, implementation is everything. There's another product from another company who I won't name, and the reason I don't want to name it is because they're still working on it, and if I go around bad-mouthing it, I'll kind of kill it in the womb. I want it to have the chance to succeed. There's another company that's making a product, though, and I tested it, and on paper it looks great. I tested it. There were problems with it. So the Fatshark system, I have every confidence that they wouldn't send it to me if it wasn't solid. But until they actually send it to me and I fly it, I'm reserving judgment. Specs are the specs are good. It uses your existing goggles with HDMI input. That's very exciting. You know, if you have HDOs, that's going to give you good resolution. At the end of the day, though, you got to fly it. You got to see how it flies. Chim, thank you for $5. EV200D, what modules work with Quadversity? Why else would Eachine include the extra faceplate? Chim, my understanding is only the stock modules will correctly do Quadversity on the EV200D. They have a kind of a way of syncing up with each other so that they don't switch diversity in the middle of a frame. And my understanding is only the stock modules from Eachine will work fully correctly with Quadversity. Why else would they include the faceplate? I mean, sure, you could put 2 modules in there. Yeah. It'll do Quadversity. It just will potentially, like, you'll get glitches. So if you have the EV200D, you use the stock module, or my recommendation is use just 1 regular module. Don't use 2. To be fair, I haven't actually tested that. I think I tried it once a long time ago, but that's my thought. Alrighty. So don't buy the new Attitude since they don't have HDMI. Well done, Fatshark says needs more too. I mean, you knew they didn't have HDMI when you bought them. I mean, it's not like Fatshark like ripped you off here. Why is HDMI on the goggles? The whole purpose, I mean, everybody says, oh, because I want to fly it with my simulator. Yeah. But, I mean, the purpose of HDMI input for FPV goggles has always been for a high-def ground station. So when you bought the Attitudes, you knew you weren't going to be able to use a high-def ground station. If you wanted an HDMI input, you buy a different goggle. Good Nugs. Can someone answer my question? What's your question, Good Nugs? Now I got to scroll back and look for your question. Vanover's here. Holy crap. Oh, Vanover's in the chat. I thought you were working today, Vanover. Vanover's supposed to be like commentating a race or something. Everybody looking forward to seeing whether Vanover lives up to his big trash-talking mouth. I'll tell you what. I can't decide which would make me... I've said this before. I would say this to Vanover, so there's no secret here. Vanover, I can't decide which would make me happier. To see you live up to your trash talk and your hype and just destroy everyone and be like, I'm the best. Or to see you just get completely humiliated. Not on a personal level, I wouldn't revel in your humiliation. But on kind of like a public level, you've trashed... It's like in pro wrestling, right? When the heel trash talks everybody, the whole point is so that later the hero can take him down and everybody can be like, yeah, screw that guy. I can't decide which one you are. I mean, it doesn't really matter. He's gonna do what he did. Anyway, where's this question from Good Nugs? There we go. I'm getting Good Nugs. Here you go, buddy. I got you. I'm just getting into FPV. I'm starting out on 4S. I plan on moving to 6S one day, I think is what you mean to say. I hate buying things twice. Can you charge 4S on the 6S parallel charge board? Good Nugs, here's the official answer. The official answer is yes, it will work, but no, we don't officially recommend it. Electrically, what you would do is you would just kind of cut away the little piece of plastic that keys in so that you can plug in a 6S to the 4S board, and then you can plug in whatever you want. If you plug it in wrong, you will short circuit something and trip the poly fuses, and that's bad. But if you want to buy the JB 6S board and then plug 4S into it, you can do that. It will work. We officially don't recommend that because it increases the risk of you screwing something up and starting a fire. Vanover's out of here. Onward 74 says, has anybody tested HDMI input latency on the goggles? I tried my Elmways and my Fatsharks, and it was awful. Onward 74, are you sure that's not something to do with your computer's HDMI output? I don't know. I mean, the whole point of the HDMI input is for use on a sim, so hopefully it wouldn't add too much latency. Oh, he's commentating. I see. He says back to commentating. Yeah, he's commentating a race. Stircraze says Bardwell versus Vanover. Let's go. No. He would... Come on. Do you really think I would beat him in a race? Give me a break. Give me a break. We're all going to find out in about a half hour. Let's see here. Brid720 says, on batteries, what is way out of balance? Good question, Brid. Like... I would say more than 0.1 volts for sure. So like when I finish flying, my batteries are usually at 3.7 something. 3.73, 3.74, 3.75, 3.72. If maybe even 0.05 volts, but definitely 0.1 volts. If one of your cells is at 3.6 and one is at 3.7, that's way far out, in my opinion. Let's see here. What do you think about the new Tiny Hawk Freestyle? Asks nobody. I'm very excited about the Tiny Hawk Freestyle. I actually have one. They sent me one. I just didn't get a review video made. I'm really excited about the new sort of 2.5-inch class. This is the full speed Toothpick Pro 2.5-inch, and I'm gonna be. I've flown it a little bit and really like it. I want to fly it kind of head to head against the Emax Freestyle and see. But Emax is just such a good track record. Not a perfect track record, but a really good track record of good bind and fly, ready to fly quads. So I'm looking forward to trying it. What's in the jar? Arnold Palmer, iced tea, and lemonade. And that's it. That's it. I'm out of... I sometimes put bourbon in those, but I'm out of bourbon. I haven't got any. So... Jason says... My Tyrannus doesn't start in bootloader mode. Jason, you don't need to boot your Tyrannus into bootloader mode. I would suggest just flashing it using OpenTX Companion from the PC. Plug in. Well, here, I'll show you that instead of me describing it to you. I've got a video where I do it on the X-Lite. So this is my video where I do it on the X-Lite. I'm going to paste it in the chat for you, Jason. And basically, you just plug in the battery. You plug it... Sorry, lost my train of thought. You plug in USB with the radio turned off, and you flash it that way. Then you don't need to put... I don't know why it's not going into bootloader mode. I'm not sure what the deal is there. But that's what I would do, Jason. Let's see here. Come to Vancouver, BC. Thank you for the invitation, Marcel. My aunt actually lives in Vancouver, BC. I've been to BC. Was she in Vancouver? I'm not sure if she's in Vancouver, but she is in British Columbia. It's beautiful, beautiful country up there. Let's see here. Chamber lives in Knoxville. He wants to come fly the freestyle. You never know. Lucid Guy wants to know about the ISDT charging board. Yeah, the ISDT parallel board. ISDT is a... this thing is a real beast. I'm not sure how I feel about the value. Oh, it's come down a little bit. It's come down. It used to be more expensive than this. It's $30. It's like aluminum. It's got... does it have fuses in it? I'm not even sure about that. I mean, they call it the safe parallel board. Does it have fuses? It doesn't say. Why do they call it the safe parallel board? Yeah, no, they're 32 pieces of fuse. Yeah, so this is a really nice... ISDT has really good fit and finish. It is good. It's only... My thing is, though, it's only got 4 ports, whereas mine is 10. So I feel like mine is a better value. But it does have an aluminum case, so that's nice. Tony Briz says it does have polyfuses. Craig Haig says, DJI, should we buy it or wait for Fatshark? I mean, how could you answer that question, Craig? The Fatshark product has never been flown by anyone outside of Fatshark. The Fatshark is a total unknown. I will say that there are enough differences between the DJI and the Fatshark system that some people could make the decision today. Like, the DJI system doesn't work with your existing goggles. If you feel strongly that you want the system to work with your existing, like your Fatshark HDOs or your Sky Zones, then the DJI system, you're going to wait on that and see if the Fatshark's good enough before you pull the trigger. But if you, like, can I talk to you guys for a second about these goggles? Can I talk? Because what do people complain about with the Fatshark goggles? They say, you can make a VR goggle with 4K resolution and yada, 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 and it's only $300. How are Fatsharks so expensive? You know, you've heard this before, right? This goggle has like 3890 by 1024 resolution. It has an 80-degree field of view. This is the analog goggle that so many people have been, I don't even know what the word is, have been raging that no one will make. Costs $500 bucks, a little more than $500. It's got a giant field of view, beautiful screen, high resolution. The only thing it doesn't have is a built-in freaking receiver. You have to use it with a ground station. So, okay, that sucks. I'm not suggesting, I'm not saying go out and buy this as your analog goggles. I'm not saying that. But I do think it's interesting. So many people rage against not just Fatshark, but the state of the industry. How dare these companies charge us $300 for a little tiny screen, 640 by 480 resolution. That's an insult. DJI made the goggle that you were raging about no one making. And now those same people are like, how dare DJI? I don't know. They're all mad about something. This is the analog goggle that you've been asking for. Okay, it doesn't have a receiver built in. That is an issue. I just had that thought the other day. I was like, you guys, you can't make anybody happy. 1440 by 810? Are you sure about that, RR? Was I looking at the wrong goggle? I don't think that's right. I looked it up. DJI goggles. FPV goggles. I may have been looking at the wrong resolution. No, see, these are the not the FPV goggles. Digital FPV system. Where's the frickin'... This is the one. Where's the resolution? Oh, my bad. My bad. I apologize. I was looking at the wrong spec. So it's 1440 by 810, which is still the highest resolution of... Is it higher than the Orcas? No, less than the Orcas. Okay. Well, okay. My bad there. I read that wrong. Still, it's pretty good. Big field of view. Doesn't have a built-in receiver. That's kind of annoying. Thank you for correcting me on that one, RR123RR. MC Starcoin says, JB, you will be getting a review unit for the Orca goggles. They just announced it on Kickstarter. Yay! I said, people were like, are you buying the Orca goggles? And I was like, I hope they send me one. Because it's a lot of money. And I mean, sometimes here's the takeaway. On some products, I go, I need to buy this. I feel like I want to make sure everybody knows I'm being as objective as possible. And sometimes I go, nah, you go ahead and send it to me. It's a little bit of a trade-off. I always am objective. I feel like I always treat the product fairly and don't let the fact that maybe somebody sent it. And there are companies out there who are annoyed at me because they send me a product and then they like think oh, he's since I sent it to him, he's gonna go easy on it, and then I'm not, and then they're like, damn, and then they're mad at me. You guys don't see that. But I feel like I'm always fair, but you guys, I understand. Sorry. You guys, I understand if you're getting $1,000 product for free, how you might suspect that might taint the opinion. But as far as the orcas go, I don't know. It just feels like I feel like I can. I don't know. I just make a call about that. What can I say? Anyway, I hope they send me one. I'm looking forward to reviewing it. I got some more super chats. Let's get them out of the way. Get some more super chats coming in. Jonathan K, thanks for $5. What recommendations can you give to a new pilot looking for places to fly? Jonathan K, the single best thing a new pilot can do, period, is to hook up with your local FPV community if it exists. And the first thing you're going to say is, it doesn't exist. No one flies near me. You may be right, but you may be wrong. The number one thing I would say is go to the MultiGP website. They have a chapter map, and look on the MultiGP chapter map for a chapter near you. If you're lucky, there'll be one right next door. If you're unlucky, there'll be one an hour away. Welcome to America. If you have to drive an hour on the weekend to go and meet a bunch of other people who fly FPV, totally worth it. Totally worth it. Then you'll connect with them, and then once you connect with them, they can help you out and they can tell you about locations and stuff. As far as finding locations on your own, that's really a lot more challenging. I mean, you can always try to go to parks and stuff, but you got to get there when there aren't people there. It really depends where you live. You can also definitely check out the Facebook. Check Facebook and just search for your city FPV and hope you find it. Yoshi FPV says, now my beeper isn't doing anything. Oops. Yoshi, can you email me, joshuabardwell@gmail.com, and we'll see if we can troubleshoot your beeper. Maybe a wiring issue at this point. Let's see here. Oh, I have to back up. Want to get fly. Thank you for $5. I have a fatal error reboot to retry on my black box on JBF4 flight controller. The JBF4 doesn't have an SD card. It has an onboard data flash. Want to get fly in the black box tab? Have you got the black box device set to internal data flash? I think you're looking at I see. No, I got it. You're looking at the SD card, but it doesn't have an SD card. It has built-in flash chip. So just don't pay any attention. Want to get fly to the SD card. It doesn't mean anything. And make sure that you've got the black box device set to internal flash, not SD. Russell Baker, thanks for $5. When do you think DJI will release V2 of their HD system? Well, Russell Baker, I would say that this is at least V2 or V3 of their HD system. The very first system that they released, I think it was Lightbridge. Lightbridge is not tailored toward FPV, but it is a very robust long-distance digital video link. The second version was what they had, the OcuSync, which was what they had in the Goggles RE. And that was almost there, but still the latency was not good enough. And this, I would call this Rev 3 of the DJI system. Now, obviously, they're going to keep improving it. What you're really asking is, when is it going to improve again? I couldn't really tell you the answer to that. I have no freaking idea. I would say if you want it today, here's take a look at this. I got this video. Let me show you guys this video. This is actually going to go up on my channel because people have been one of the complaints people had was that the people flying the DJI system are not really like pushing it. They're not really like trying hard. So I made this video. I'm going to share it with you guys. And I'll tell you why I'm sharing it with you guys at the end of the video. All right, folks. Hang on a second here. Boom, and here we go. Here's what I got for you today. This is... Oh, wait. No, I'm sorry. I'm Joshua Bardwell, and you're going to learn something today. Got to get that in there for the super fans. Okay. Here's what you're going to get today. This is some freestyle. I am flying. This is... Oh, yeah. Freaking big mode. I tried... Okay, Josh, come on. Enjoy. Only frame I had. Okay. So this is,
And
you're
we'll just
looking right
start
now
flight with a good hard
at the
get
DVR.
Up out of the grass there, son. Get up.
This
out of
is
the
what I
grass.
saw in the goggles when I was
my
flying.
6-inch quadcopter. This is the only frame I had that was
I'll let
big enough to
Joshua
fit
from the
DJI
past
Air unit
do the
in,
talking.
So it takes me a minute to get used to the way it handles. But here we go with some freestyle, and it's pretty freaking nice flying. Like, this is literally what you're seeing in the goggles. For all the criticisms of the unit that are completely valid, and there are many valid criticisms of the unit, my God, it does deliver on the experience of flying in HD. It's freaking amazing. So here I am ripping it up, trying to do some precision stuff to demonstrate. People are a little skeptical of the latency. Trying to do some precision stuff here. Do some speedy stuff here, just having a good time. You can see that the edges of the video are blurry and the center of the screen is sharper. That is focus mode. And right here, this was the first time when I was like, whoa, ow, whoa, whoa, whoa. Coming down into those trees, it suddenly got blurry and the latency changed slightly and I struggled a little bit. That's the kind of thing that you're gonna, like here I'm gonna do it again just to test it out. You're gonna get used to that if you fly this system, because you, in the same way that when you fly analog, you go, oh, I know I lose signal behind that building. I'm going to fly extra careful through there. Well, same thing kind of happens with this system. I will say, though, this is on the 700 milliwatt output power. I will say that flying around my house like this, the latency stays around, 26, 30, 35, maybe milliseconds at most. The latency is just completely a non-issue under these scenarios. Now let's fly over through these trees. Now, this is my 6-inch quad, and it's my freestyle quad, so it doesn't have a ton of up tilt. It's not a super speedy racer, and I am not a super speedy racing pilot either, but I'm going to do some moves around those trees to try and demonstrate, the precision and speed. And if latency were an issue, could I do these things? I don't know. Judge for yourself. Oh, here. Oh, wow. The control of 6-inch. Man. Oh, that was...
Okay. I won't make you watch the whole video, but here's my point. The reason I'm showing you that is because I want you to see that I'm just like flying FPV. Just flying FPV in high definition. There it is. The system isn't perfect, but if what you want is to fly FPV in HD, there it is. And is it going to get better in 2 years? Sure, something better will come out. Will they release new hardware? That's hard to say. You just can't know. I'm sure there's going to be firmware updates that'll improve it somewhat, especially as more FPV pilots start giving them feedback. But when you're saying when you say, are they gonna release an update in 6 months? What you're asking is, should I buy it today or should I wait? And the thing is, what you want is to fly FPV in HD, and if that's what you want, here it is. And that is such a big deal to some people, not to everybody. But if that's what you've been waiting for, it's here. So don't wait 6 months. If that's what you've been waiting for. Okay. Enough about that. How much are the goggles? The goggles are like $520. The air unit is like, I think it's like $160, $170. Are we? Is it, yeah, no. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. Hello. Silverhammer in the Discord says, sometimes my quad starts spinning in midair. Eventually I get back control. Here's a video example. Let's take a look at this uncontrolled spin from Silverhammer in the Discord. How am I going to get this? Uncontrolled spin from Silverhammer in the Discord. Here, okay, so what happened there is that a motor stopped spinning. It happened at the end of your move. The motor was at idle, and it had to spin up to stop the move, and then it didn't spin up. Now let's pay close attention here to the way the quad is moving. Okay, so it's rolling. It's pitching and rolling to the right. Hang on. I think I'm looking at the horizon. I wish I could. Can I frame by frame it? I can't. Can I download this? Let's download this so I can frame by frame it. Passius, I have tested 25 milliwatts on the DJI. It's pretty freaking bad. It's pretty freaking bad, dude. The range is really bad. It's not, I mean, to be honest, 25 milliwatt analog is also pretty freaking bad. So I feel like the range of the DJI system is roughly comparable to an analog system of the same strength, maybe a little bit less. But it's, you don't get a lot of penetration on 25 milliwatt analog, and you get about the same, not a lot of penetration on 25 milliwatt DJI. I'm not sure I would see here's the thing. No, there we go. The folks who live in Europe, where they're legally not supposed to go above 25 milliwatts, most of them just buy a 500 milliwatt, 800 milliwatt transmitter, and nobody catches them at it. You're not going to be able to do that very easily with the DJI. There is a workaround. I'm not going to tell you. You can figure it out if you want to. But I would not spend $1,000 on the DJI system if I were limited to 25 milliwatts. It is awesome to be able to fly in HD, but given the choice between 500 milliwatt analog and 25 milliwatt DJI, I'd take analog every day just because the range is just not very usable. 25 milliwatts. Okay, going back to this troubleshoot that we're doing, let's see if we can frame by frame this and see which way this guy's moving. Hello. Okay, there it is. So now let's frame by frame and look at the horizon. So here we're basically spinning flat. The horizon is not changing its location or orientation. Here we've pitched forward. The horizon is higher in the frame, and we're rolling right. We're pitching forward and we're rolling right. Can you see? I'm going to back it up, and I want you guys to watch this. This is how I troubleshoot these motor issues. I'm watching what the horizon does. Hello. Come on. There we go. We're going to see the horizon get higher in the frame and angle to the right. See? And what that's telling us is that the front right motor has stopped, is having a problem. So the first thing you can do, Silverhammer, is you can try raising your idle speed. Your digital idle percent in D-Shot is the one you want to be looking at. If the idle speed is too low, this will happen. It is interesting that the quad didn't do a full death roll. Oh, there we go. It did roll. It just took a second to get into it. So I think your front right motor has a problem in that specific case. Try raising your idle speed if you've lowered it from defaults, or if you have a very small quad, maybe you need a little higher idle speed. It could also be a damaged motor, you see, though. So people are asking about the TBS receiver module. Somebody said, are you going to buy into the pre-order? Does the Fusion go on pre-order? Let's see. I would definitely like to get one. I can't find... Oh, HeliDirect has a pre-order. Oh, no. In stock? No. It's not in stock. Ooh, that's cute. Who has it in stock? Tiny Sleds has it in stock. Does GetFPV have it? Why would GetFPV not have it? 404 not found. Oh, there it is. Coming soon. Add to wish list. Anyway, yeah, I will definitely be buying one. I would love to test this thing out. We'll see. And for the record, I mean, if you know about my history with TBS, there have been TBS products in the past that I have criticized. But I don't have a personal grudge against TBS. I have TBS Unifies in all of my personal quads because it's a great product. So the reason I pay attention to TBS is because TBS is a big player in the industry, and when TBS releases a new product, you guys fill up my email with message or chats or whatever. You guys all ask me, hey, are you going to test that? And so I'm like, yeah, okay, I guess I am. And when I test it, I will test it the same as everybody else. I will give it an absolutely fair chance, and the results and I will show you the results, and you can see for yourself. You know, there are times when I editorialize, and I inject my own personal opinions about things. But the time for that is never when I'm doing a test or a shootout. Never. Anyway, is my video skipping, you guys? Is my video skipping? It looked to me for a minute on my preview like the video was skipping. Are we looking good over here? Everything okay? Anyway. I got to get back to the super chats because I'm way behind on the super chats. I got distracted. Let me keep catching up. Slee Stack, thank you for $10. I just purchased the German-made diopters for distance correction of my Fatsharks. What do you know about reading distance issues? These are not corrected for in the diopters. Slee Stack, for Fatshark goggles, the focal distance I think is approximately 6 feet. If you need reading glasses for up close, what you need to do is you need to reach out to the company that makes the diopters and tell them what your situation is. And they will tell you whether you should get reader lenses or regular distance lenses. If you already bought the lenses, then you missed your opportunity to do that. Yeah, if you're farsighted, if you're an old guy like me and you're starting to need reader glasses, you need to ask. And it'll depend on what your distance vision prescription and your near distance prescription is. They will be able to advise you about that, though. They do it all day long, so they know. Be Free Bail Bonds. I didn't miss your super chat. I just am way behind on super chats. Be Free Bail Bonds. Thanks for $5. Can you remap the LED pin for servo output in iNav like you can in Betaflight? I believe you can, Be Free Bail Bonds, but when remapping servos, you have to have a free, like, there are timer conflicts that can happen, and it may not work. So I think you can, but I'm not 100% sure about that because I don't do iNav on a day-to-day basis. Gyro FPV, thanks for $5. What do you think of Emu Flight? Emu Flight, in case you don't know, you can Google Emu, like the bird, EMU, Emu Flight. Emu Flight is a version of Butterflight that has the Helio Spring IMUF filtering code baked into it, but you don't need to run it on a Helio flight controller, which is a good thing because Helio went out of business and stopped making flight controllers. But somebody saw that code that they made open source and they put it into Butterflight and Betaflight so you can run it on your regular Betaflight flight controller. I am going to be doing some work with Emu Flight. I was looking forward to interviewing them. They postponed the interview because they want to get. Right now, Emu Flight is based on Butterflight, but they want it to be based on Betaflight because that's where more development is happening, and they're having some issues sort of porting it all over. So when that's ready, I look forward to testing it and look forward to interviewing them. Some people really like the IMUF filtering, and the ability to do that without having to use the Helio hardware is certainly exciting. PPFPV says remapping is not implemented in iNav. There you go. Thank you for pointing that out, PPFPV. I guess I assumed because it was based on Betaflight that it might be, but I guess it's not. Tileman, thank you for 17 Danish kroners. Skyo 2X review, is it coming out? I did. Yeah, I reviewed the Skyo 2X, Tillman. Look for my best $300 goggle video. That's where I review the Skyo 2X. Arek, thanks for $5. What do you think about the DJI goggles RE for analog? No. Nope. DJI goggles RE is not a good analog goggle. When I tested it, the latency on the analog receiver was unacceptable. Here's what I would say, Arek. If you own a DJI Mavic and that's your primary quad and you want the goggles RE to use with your Mavic, and then like on the weekends you go fly analog and you race, sure, use it. It's okay. But if your primary intent is for analog, the goggles RE are a bad choice. Vasco Baloo, thank you for €4. How can I log the actual RPM of a running motor? Vasco Baloo, ESC telemetry will report RPM in real time. So get ESC telemetry working and the RPM of the motors will be logged in your Betaflight. Joshua Owen, thanks for $10. When am I releasing the review of the Diatone 369? That's going to be this Tuesday. This Tuesday, my review of the Diatone GT369 will come out. That's the 13th, 2 days from now. Since you were generous enough to donate $10, I'll spoil the review for you and tell you my opinion is that the Diatone 369 is a very, very good quad, but it's not I think for most people, it's not worth an additional $60 over the 349. And the problem is that the 349 is so freaking good. Like the 349 set this really high bar, and then the 369 for $60 more. I just don't think it's that much better than the 349. Zebig, thank you for $10. Will Fatshark update the HDMI input to use full resolution on the HD3? I don't think that's even possible. And the HD3 is discontinued, so I don't think Fatshark's going to be doing any work on the HD3. You are stuck with what you've got. That's it. That's my opinion. Anyway. Joe Graves FPV, thanks for $2. Any thoughts on the Beta FPV HX100? Is that the one with the tarsier in it? Which one is that? Beta FPV. Basically, no thoughts on it. I haven't even seen it. HX100. Is that their toothpick? Nope, no thoughts about it. I'm sorry to say. I'm still not even really very familiar with it. Yeah, it's their toothpick. Okay. Everybody's making toothpicks now. Thank you for $2, Joe Graves. Sean Hales, what motors would you suggest I replace my Brat motors on my Acro Brat with? Brat motors are always out of stock. I am working on I am speccing out a 3-inch build right now, Sean Hales. I am going to put iFlight motors on there. I've been talking to Aaron Ciotti, who is a micro guy. iFlight is going to be releasing a 1506 sized motor, which Aaron, and by extension me, think is the perfect motor. It's like 1506 4100 kV, the perfect motor for the Acrobrat. So Sean Hales, I would wait for iFlight to release the 1506 motor. That is now I've spoiled it. Sorry, iFlight. It should be coming out soon. Adrian Bravo, am I going to review the Emax Tiny Hawk Freestyle? Yes, I will be reviewing that. Thanks for $5. Remy Tim. Oh, this is the last super chat. I'm almost caught up. Remy Tim, thanks for $5. Crossfire help. Diversity Nano RX is bound. Telemetry is received, but Betaflight won't show stick or switch movements. So Remy Tim, you got to go to the ports tab and make sure that in the ports tab, the correct UART is set as serial RX. You got to go to the configuration tab. Make sure it's set to Crossfire. And then you got to make sure your wiring is correct. So make sure that the TX wire goes to the RX on the flight controller, and the RX wire goes to the TX on the flight controller. And you got to go to your receiver output mapping and make sure that it is set to output Crossfire TX and RX and not like SBus. So, Remy Tim, those are all the steps that would need to be done. Matthew Smiley, this is a slow day for chat. Wow, that's because Matthew Smiley, 3 minutes ago, the first DRL race from Miami just started broadcasting, and everybody's watching that. I guess you could do both. You could watch me stream and you watch Vanover race. Random Chaos says Aaron Ciotti is a great guy. Ciotti, little known fact about Aaron Ciotti is he was an autocross instructor for many years, and he is a hell of a driver. I have kind of wanted to try autocross for a long time, but been a little bit overwhelmed by all the stuff you got to do to get into it. It's not that complicated. It just seems like a lot to me, and so I'm hoping someday he'll take me to an autocross event and help me, I don't know, just have a good time. Sounds fun. Burker Canatar, what are your suggestions for a long flight time build? Burker, larger props are more efficient, so I would be looking at something like 1500 kV 6S 7-inch prop. That's where I would be going, something like that. Dan Langston, what's your pick for an AC/DC charger under $150? Dan, my pick for an AC/DC charger is the HobbyMate D6 Duo. And you can see I'm not joking. I literally, you're like, oh, he just gets everything for free. Nope. I legit just bought this thing. It's $160, so it's not under $150, but just ponying up that extra $10, dude. This thing is just an absolute beast. Now, this is interesting. This is the AC/DC version, but they actually just made a DC only version for $100, and yes, I purchased it too. I needed one more. This is if you like the Hobbymate D6 Duo. Now, just to be clear, the AC version also runs off DC. So if you have like a power supply at your house, you actually get more output. You get 650 watts off of DC, only 200 watts off of AC. But if you don't need the AC input, you can just get the DC version for $110. Yep, that is definitely the one I would get. I'm super excited that they've released the DC only version. I have been buying the AC/DC version even though I have a DC power supply just because I like it and I think it's a great charger. And then when I go on the road, I take it with me and I plug it into the wall at the Airbnb so I don't have to take my power supply with me. Although I didn't need 3 of them for that. I only needed 1. But now they have a DC only version and that's just super exciting. Hobbymate D6 versus ISDT D2, Mike Alexa. Hobbymate D6 all the way. Here's the thing. ISDT D2, Mike Alexa. Let's look at the specs on this guy. ISDT D2. ISDT D2 is $140. It has basically the same spec as the D6 Duo, 200 watts. But it only works off of AC. It doesn't have the option to run off of DC. The D6 Duo is $160, so it's $30 more. Okay. But with the D6 Duo, if you have a power supply, it does up to 650 watts, so if you never ever in the world intend to have a power supply, maybe the D2 is better. It's $30 cheaper. Although the D6 Duo has other features that I like it's got NFC charging. You set your cell phone on top of it and it wirelessly charges your phone. So I think for many people, the ability to charge off of DC at 650 watts puts the D6 Duo over the top. But it's just me. Leonidas GFX says, what's the point of getting a dual charger when you can just get 2 normal chargers? Leonidas, it's a good point. You got to work the math. I think that with the D6 Duo, I mean, the thing is, for the D6, it's $110 for a 2-channel 650-watt charger. Work the math on that and figure out whether you could get 2 650-watt chargers for $50, $60 each. Maybe. I think I like the fact that it takes up less space on the bench. When I'm packing for a trip, I don't have to pack 2 or 3 things. It's a fair chat. It's a fair question, though. People are putting DRL spoilers in the chat. If you don't want DRL do me a favor, guys. Don't put DRL spoilers in the chat just in case. Because if anybody's watching my live stream and not watching DRL, we don't want to spoiler them. So just do me a favor. Wrong way. I'm going to hide your message. I'm going to... Oh, no. I don't want to report your message. I want to just remove your message. Remove. Wrong way. No offense. I'm going to remove your message just in case. You can... It should be... It's on NBC right now. You should be streaming on Twitch. Joseph Sutton, will a GoPro Hero 7 Black fit okay on the Holy Bro Copus 2? Yeah, you just need the right 3D printed holder. It'll be fine. Don't read the Discord, Chamber says. I'm reading the Discord, Chamber. Take it easy. Take it easy. I'm here. Let's see. What are people talking about in the Discord? Somebody's asking about the Diatone GTB 239 Cube. What is the Diatone? I mean, I like Diatone. Oh, it's Diatone's toothpick. Okay, everybody's making a freaking toothpick. Is this available? No, it's not available yet. I mean, I have every faith that if Diatone makes a toothpick, they'll probably do a good job on it. Diatone doesn't have a perfect track record, but they have a pretty good track record. I would give Diatone the benefit of the doubt. How about that? Borges asks, is it okay to say in the Discord? Thank you, Borges, for being a patron. Is it possible to save a LiPo battery if one cell's dead but the rest are fine? Can I remove one cell and replace it with a good cell? Borges, in theory, you can do that. In practice, the ability to do that safely, many people cannot do that safely. So unless you are 100% sorry, guys. Unless you are 100% sure, Borges, that you know that you can do that safely, then I would pass. I would pass. Of course, Kebab. Tumbleweed 30 in the Discord points out that Kebab helped in the development of the diatone cube. So that is another mark in its favor. Kebab, of course, was basically the inventor of the toothpick format. And some people, when Ready to Fly toothpicks started coming out, some people were like, they're ripping off Kebab. But he's so cool about it. He's such a cool guy. Like, he's not like, he's like, no, it's cool. He's just glad to see it succeeding. And he often works with these guys to develop and make the products better. I hope he's getting paid for his work. He certainly deserves it. Let's see. What do you think of cheap knockoff GoPros? I don't know, Matthew Smiley. Which cheap knockoff GoPro are you talking about? Thomas Bird wants to know if you can put 5-inch arms on the 6-inch rooster. Thomas, I would bet you can. I don't think the rooster body is different between the different arm lengths. I would bet you can. FPV LV says, I just joined your live stream. Can you please help? My drone motors are twitching after I installed the Maytag F405 STD. I mean, are they twitching when you arm, or are they twitching when you're disarmed? That's the first question. If they're twitching when you're disarmed, there may be electrical noise causing the ESCs to read incorrectly. And if that's happening, you want to be really careful because the motors can spin unexpectedly. I would want to know, when are they twitching, FPVLV? Draft and Drift says, how do I donate? Love your content, but I'm new at this. Draft and Drift, if you want to donate, one way to do it is to click this $ right down here. And that'll let you send me a super chat with a couple bucks. They're twitching when they're flying? When armed, it's okay. But you said twitching. You said they're twitching when you fly, but you also said when armed, it's okay. I don't know how to. Those seem like they're contradictory. When it's flying, it's yawing. Oh, so you got twitches on the yaw axis. Yeah, FPVLV, make sure nothing. Thank you, Copernicus. Good suggestion. Make sure nothing's touching the flight controller. That can sometimes cause yaw twitches. You could also just have too much electrical noise or vibration. If there's too much noise or are your motors super hot? That's a good question. When you fly, are your motors super hot, FPVLV? Got more super chats coming in. Let me get them out of the way here. Let's see. How far back do I need to go? There we go. Redbeard the Pilot, thanks for $5. What are your thoughts on 2-inch Cinewhoop builds versus toothpicks? Well, Redbeard, the 2-inch Cinewhoop builds are just very different intent than toothpicks. Cinewhoops are designed to be heavy. Well, they have to be heavy because they're carrying like a high-def camera. Not a GoPro, in case you're confused about what a Cinewhoop is. They have like a Caddx Tarsier on there or some other micro-sized HD recording device. But as the name suggests, a Cinewhoop is designed for cinematic flying, so long tracking shots, not flippy flops, okay? So you take something like this Toothpick Pro from Full Speed, and this is the third time I've brought it up. It just happens to be sitting on the desk next to me. Full Speed has not sponsored this live stream or anything like that. Just reach out. Oh, there it is. This is designed for acro flying and racing. It's not designed for cinematic, slow, smooth tracking shots. A Cinewhoop is heavier and less agile. And that actually is good because it means that it actually is more stable, right? So my thoughts, I mean, they're different tools for a different job. That's what I would say. Tealman, thank you for 25 Danish kroners. When am I going to review the SkyZone Skyo 3 OLED? I don't know. I mean, I would be great. Here's how the number one way to get me to review a product is for the manufacturer to send it to me, and then it shows up in the mail, and then, pardon me, I guess that's not actually 100% reliable because sometimes things come in the mail and I go, why did you send this to me? I didn't agree to review this. I don't owe you anything. I don't want to review this. And then it sits there for 2 months. So I guess I'm just saying I'm like a teenager. I would have to get one first, though. I would be interested. SkyZone makes very good goggles. And the Fatshark Attitude has going for it that it is an OLED. Nobody else has that. So if SkyZone is going to release an OLED, I think it could compete. Jesse Taliaferro, thanks for $10, no question. Yoshi, Yoshi, thank you again for your donation. Let's troubleshoot your beeper in email. Email me, joshuabardwell@gmail.com, okay? Nate Dogg wants to know what I ate for breakfast. I don't actually think I had breakfast yet, just a cup of coffee. Thank you for 50 Swedish kroners, I think. What are your thoughts, AL3891, what are your thoughts on the Fatshark Scout? Will you do a review? I'm not super excited about box goggles. I hate to say this. The Fatshark Scout is a good box goggle. I actually tested it in my recent module roundup. Is the Scout the one with or without diversity? No, the Recon is the one without diversity. The Scout is the one with diversity, isn't it? Yeah. Patent panel. Yeah, it has diversity. So, Fatshark makes a hell of a good goggle. The Scout is good looking. It's good quality. It has diversity. But by the time you're up to $200, is it $200? Where can I check the price of that? Yeah. So by the time you're up to $200, you're paying a lot for a box goggle at $200. I think you really got to ask yourself if that's the direction you want to go. By the time you're at $200 for a box goggle, you're going to get a very different experience though, because a $300 you could get. I mean, that is $100 more. I think the Fatshark Scout is one of the best box goggles you can get. But is it $100 better than like the EV800D? Well, Fatshark would say, of course it is. And they're not wrong, but a lot of customers would say, nah, the 800D is solid. So. Borges says, do you think in the Discord, thank you, patrons. Do you think Fatshark will make a new set of HDOs? They just done a new pair of Attitudes. I don't know about that. I don't know about that, Borges. I've been saying I think there's a chance that the release of Orca will inspire Fatshark to release a new high-end goggle to compete directly with Orca. I don't know anything about that, but it feels like that's a move they might make. I haven't heard any rumors of that, though. There were very few rumors of the Bifrost digital FPV system before DJI released theirs, so they could be working on it and just keeping it on the down low. I haven't heard anything. I would say if there was ever a time when Fatshark was going to release a new upgraded goggle, all the splash about Orca hitting the market would be the time when they would do it. On the flip side, though, DJI released, and one day later, Fatshark was like, look at our thing that we've got. So arguably, if Fatshark was going to do it, they would have done it already, because Orca's been making waves for quite a while. I don't know. There you go. See which one of those arguments you think is most convincing. Jacob Bothel, thanks for $2. Have I seen the Throw Flame TF19? That's that flame throwing quad. Yes, I have seen that. I have indeed. Okay. Oh, people talking about Vanover and DRL. I can't kill all the messages, guys. Sorry. Show us my t-shirt. This is the t-shirt. I got this in Quadbox. I love it. It's my favorite t-shirt I ever got from Quadbox. Isn't that great? Bashalon says, I'm going to be building my first drone soon. Are there any all-in-one lists I can go off of for buying parts? I'm looking around $150 to $200 price range, not including goggles or radio. Yes, both Bashalon. Here is my... Bashalon, here is my... This is our Learn to Build playlist that I made specifically for first-time builders. Takes you through all of the steps to build your quad. And it's got a product list down in the video description. It's going to come to more like $250, but I think it's worth it. Did Icky Leslie do that shirt, Quad Farm? Icky Leslie is a great artist. I didn't actually know he did this shirt, but there you go. Hiya Sibua says search for cheapest quad worth building. All right, let's see what we get when we search for cheapest quad worth building. What do we got? RC Addict. Let's see. Let's pick this apart. Oh, no, it's terrible. It's terrible. I hate it. No, I don't know. I can't see. Way to go. Oh, no, I've been down this road before. RC Addict, very clever. Look, RC Addict, what frame is in? I don't know. I got to click this affiliate link to even find out what the product is. I don't know for a fact that RC Addict did this on purpose, but if he did, it was very clever. But like, I was going to evaluate this build, but I'm not going to go click 57 affiliate links just to see what the parts are. Tell me what the frame is and then give me the link. I don't know. Where's the parts list? I don't know. Less than $200. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not, but I'm not going to click a zillion links just to find out. I know, I have to watch the video. Well, but I don't want to watch the video. I'm a very busy person. I'm just saying it's a good move. It's a good move. Because here's the secret. Once you click the link, that's the first step. Now the cookie is set. The number one goal as an affiliate is to get as many people with that cookie in their browser as you can. The second goal is to actually entice them to make a purchase. The first goal is to just get them to click that link. Ronnie Renkung. How is the HD footage of the DJI? Does it compare with GoPro? No. The short version is no. I'll show you. Well, I can show you the footage, but the problem is that because you're watching it over a YouTube stream, it's going to look like crap. But like, this is footage straight off the Air unit. This is footage straight off the Air. Can I have full screen? This is straight off the Air unit. It's not bad, but I don't think it competes with GoPro. Like, here's some freeze frames, so that'll give you some ideas. Now, you have to bear in mind, this was actually twilight. It was actually fairly dark out, so there's a lot of motion blur. Okay, so you would really need to do a side-by-side to know for sure. But just like, it's not bad. But there's no way that it has the detail and the dynamic range and just the... Like, this is a really good, like, RunCam split quality of image. But I would never say that it would, like, replace a GoPro. See, like, it's not bad. I actually have the saturation turned down one tick because I think that helps with your ability to process it in post. You could tweak this in post and make something of it, but, like, especially if you look here in the distance, you can definitely see that the resolution and the sharpening is a little weird. Maybe if I turn the sharpening down, it would look a little better. A lot of motion blur because it's dark. One of the things about a GoPro is that, like, let's say you want to put an ND filter on this, or you want to do something to the exposure. Well, that's also going to affect your FPV feed. That's another part of having your HD cam be your FPV cam that people overlook. Drone Racer says goggles receive signals. They don't produce frequencies. Well, that's not true for the DJI goggles. It's a two-way data link. They also transmit. Okay. Shamer wants to know, was it NERC that won DRL in Las Vegas? I think it was. We need 2 pair of DJI goggles so you can record what's shown in the goggles. I do agree. The DRL, the DVR is not the same as what you see in the goggles. It's possible that I will have a second set of goggles coming and be able to do that. How's the record at the goggle? The recording in the goggle is worse than what's on the Air unit, of course. The recording in the goggle is what you're actually seeing with all the breakup and everything. Okay. Chris Budd talked about the Fatshark HD system earlier in the live stream, Chris Budd. The short version is that until people actually have it in hand and fly it, Remains to be seen. I like the fact that it works with your existing goggles, though. That is good. What about the Diatone PBFPV? Thanks for $279 Canadian dollars. What about the Diatone TMC Airblade 4K? Let's look at that. The Diatone TMC Airblade 4K. The heck? What even? Wow, Diatone taking shots at. Well, I think we can all see what this was inspired by. Ooh, that's a 3. Whoa, Diatone. Interesting move. Now, this is really interesting. That's a 3-inch 4K. Now, why would that? Well, wait a minute. I see. Because Diatone has the 349 HD. But what they're doing, that's a very interesting move. Where's the 349 HD, though? Hang on. There we go. So this is kind of like a very light 3-inch HD with a bottom mount battery. This is more similar to like the Acrobrat, which is a heavier top mount. Is it spec'd for a GoPro? It almost looks like a GoPro would fit here. What size motors are on this guy? This is interesting. This is very interesting. What motor? 1408 4000 versus the HD. Come on. What motors are on this one? 14. It's the same motor? Oh, interesting. So so this guy is going to fly a lot different. I was hoping that this guy, because this guy's going to be heavier, I think. This guy, if you think about the design philosophy behind the Acrobrat was to build a 3-inch quad that flies similar to a 5-inch. And it means it went for additional weight. But if you're going to have the exact same motors on the 349 HD and this Airblade, I think that the Airblade's going to fly a little worse because it's a little heavier. But maybe it won't. Maybe it'll be okay and it'll carry the weight better. It's very interesting, though. It's a very interesting approach. 2 different approaches to 3-inch. Let's see here. Spoiler alert, Jokester FPV. Is there a headphone jack on the DJI goggles? Asks Ivan Lynn. Yep. Yep, there is. Glad to help. Let's see. Are those Popo 3-inch props, Hypermotor? They are not. I think they just didn't put the nuts on for the build, for the photo. Yeah, no. I don't think there are any Popo 3-inch props. Are there? I don't think so. Are there? No. No. I don't think they make a 3-inch shaft for Popo. When will DJI FPV be available in the EU? Lasse Hansen. I just check with your local retailer, I guess. Is there a mic on the Air Unit Drone Racer? Yes, there is. There is a mic on the Air Unit. Yep. I wish that there was also a mic in the goggles to record your voiceover. That would be so good, and it's sad that they didn't do it. Feedback for DJI, I guess. What's the weird mouth-looking thing on one side of the DJI goggles, asks Mr. Tux. The mouth-looking thing? The mouth? I don't know what you're talking about. This is like an air intake, I think, for the fans, I guess. Is it? Or is it just... No, I could be wrong. It could just be... It could just look cool. These ones on top are definitely like an air intake of some kind. These ones on the side don't seem to show light through. They seem to be just solid. So I think that's just a grill to look nice. T-Silos, how to fix OSD flickering and disappear with punch. The issue there is electrical noise from the motors, T-Silos. The number one thing I would do, two things I would do. Number one, add a capacitor, but if it's so bad that the OSD disappears, the capacitor alone probably won't fix it. So the other thing you can do is, if you're running from VBAT, move your camera and your VTX over to a regulated supply, like 9 volts, if your flight controller has one. Also, move the ground wire. Move the ground wire from the camera to the same location as the VTX. Those are a few things you can try. Earth and Air. How will the Fatshark HD system compare to the DJI system, in my opinion? I talked about this in a lot of detail earlier in the live stream, so I won't go into too much detail. The Fatshark system, it's nice that it will work with existing goggles, but at the end of the day, the performance in flight is what matters, and no one can say what that's going to be until it gets in the hands of customers and or reviewers. So remains to be seen. People talking about DRL and Vanover, like to remind you that I will be doing a live stream with Vanover tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern. I'll put a link in the chat in just 1 second. I'll be doing a live stream with Vanover tomorrow. I wanted to do it today and watch it live with him, but he has a commitment today that he couldn't make it. So tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern, he and I am not watching the results, so you're going to get it fresh from me. And he and I will watch and do a little behind-the-scenes commentary. I'll paste that link in the chat. Nate Sales, is there a schedule for my live streams? I live stream 1 p.m. on Sundays and 8 p.m. on Mondays. That's my schedule. Sometimes they're canceled, but mostly those are the ones. Matt Hatterstones, thank you for $5. Just built my CL1 and won a Forged Carbon Stingy. Would you run a Xylo F4 Stax or Radix? That's a tough one, Matt Hatter. The Xylo F4 Stax is solid and it's very easy to put together. It's just one big thing. The Radix does have some nice features. One of the things about the Radix is I think it needs a 5-volt input. It doesn't have a regulator on board. So you would want to make sure that your existing ESC or whatever ESC or PDB you use has a 5-volt output. That's a tough one. The Radix is a good flight controller, but requires a little more thought. The Radix maybe wouldn't be your like first build because the Xylo really just holds your hand through the whole thing. Bob Men sniffing because he didn't get an answer. What's your question, Bob? Let me look back now. I hate it when people feel bad that I'm ignoring them. I'm not ignoring you. I don't see your question though, Bob. Where is he? Nope, I don't see you, Bob. No answer. Oh, well. Let me know your question. I'll do my best, Bob. Chamber wants to know if they're running a ground station for DRL. Chamber, there's a proprietary system that they use where essentially it's a distributed antenna system where they have receiver antennas throughout the course that transmit back to a ground station that multiplexes the signal and sends it to the pilot's goggles. It is I mean, I haven't seen it in person. People have told me about it. And the people telling me about it are pilots, so they kind of don't know what they're talking about either. Or the ones I was talking to didn't know the details. But it's way more complicated than anything you're probably imagining to get the signal to the pilots. Ian F. wants to know any links or contacts to anyone who repairs FPV stuff in the USA. Ian F., I would suggest you reach out to Random FPV. Chris Benoit. He runs a business called Quad House, and he does repairs and build services. He is one of the guys I go to in situations like that. Yeah. It's not exactly like Wi-Fi repeaters, though, Mike Alexa. My understanding is it is a wired connection back to a multiplexer, or demultiplexer, I guess is what it is. So the radio, so you don't have to repeat it wirelessly again and again and again. Let's see here. DRL Bob. Bob's still looking for your question, Bob.
I have no clue at all, Bob. Where's this question? About my strange noise, not motor. Still no answer about my strange noise. What strange noise? Bob, you have to ask the question. You have a strange noise. I've got that part. Still trying to figure it out. Koopa FPV. What am I going to spot, Koopa FPV? Here I am. I'm here. You've got my attention. What is it? What is the question? Got an Acon. Koopa FPV has an Acon 4-in-1 ESC that stopped working. No beeps from the motors. She dead, baby. No beeps from the motor when power is applied. None at all. She dead. Throw it out. You're done. Sorry. Don't know why. Rajat Mondal wants to know the best FPV camera. I will take this as an opportunity to plug my website. Thank you for asking, Rajat. My website, fpvknowitall.com, contains the ultimate FPV shopping list. Nishant Pinto, your message got through. I see your message, Nishant. So that one got through. Contains the ultimate FPV shopping list, which has all my part suggestions. And you're asking about the best camera. That's in the FPV equipment section, where we've got cameras. Here are my suggestions for cameras based on what there's no single best camera. Is your priority price? Is it performance? But you can go check that out and see for yourself what you think the best camera is for you. Yeah, Koopa FPV, the real question is, why did your ESC die? No one can know for sure. Bob Men, still talking in the chat about me not answering your question, but I still don't know what your question is. I would love to know what it is, Bob. I still don't know what Bob's question is. Oh. Yes, Michael Exa, the links on my FPV shopping list are affiliate links. There's a disclaimer to that effect up at the top to keep me compliant with U.S. law. Anytime that there's a financial sort of relationship, you're supposed to disclose it. So you can see here it says basically all of the links on this page are affiliate links. So yeah, they're not all, like not literally every one, but when I can, I try and use one. And using those links helps me out. Still looking for Bob. Where's Bob? What's your question, Bob? We're going to get Bob's question. I keep posting it. Oh, Bob, I don't see your message getting hidden. Bob, if you're trying to post a YouTube link, no, you can't send it here. You will get blocked because they don't want people spamming YouTube videos in the chat. However, you should be able to post it and I would see it blocked, but I guess not. Bob, YouTube may be blocking it. Then that's why we're not seeing it. So just post your question without the link, Bob. Jeremy Sarge says, why does rapid fire sometimes lose diversity and the OSD goes away and comes back? That is due to your camera having a little bit of inconsistent sync pulses. You can fix that by changing from mode 1 to mode 2. DJ Pop in the Discord wants to know, what's the difference between the Runcam Eagle and the Micro Eagle other than size? No, DJ Pop, there's usually not a difference. It's just the size of the case they put it in. I'm not 100% sure about that because the Runcam, the original full-size Runcam Eagle came out some time ago. They may have made some small changes, but in general, as long as the micro camera is using the M12 thread lens, there's really no difference. It's just a bigger case. Ian F. in the Discord is talking about not being able to get in touch with anyone from the company. Ooh, what company is he talking about? Who have you got? Ian, are you talking about Ian in the chat? Tell me who you're talking about. Yep, Skyzone is releasing a set of OLED goggles. That is correct. Dark Diver 82, what about the Hoda D6? Dark Diver, the Hoda charger and the HobbyMate charger are the exact same charger, made in the exact same factory. Nobody is, and then people are like, oh, who's the original? I don't know. It's all above board, though. It's all licensed and above board, and
nobody's ripping anybody off. So just buy whichever one you prefer. Calvin Erickson thinks Bob is trolling. It's possible Bob is trolling me. Bob has figured out that my weakness is people feeling sad that I'm ignoring them. So maybe Bob actually has a question, or maybe he's trolling me. There you go. I don't know. Where's Bob's question has arrived. My reverb went in the water, and after that there is a friction or vibration noise. Oh, Bob, you asked me about this in email, and I answered you. You said that you had a weird, like, whistling noise, and you swapped all your motors, and then I said, it's hard for me, you know, like, I'm not there, and I can't hear the noise, but it's hard to know. If you switched your motors, then what else could it be? We're talking about this in email. So, right, unless there are two people. The bottom line is your quad went in the water. You gotta then if you got friction or vibration or noise, the number one thing is the motors. So it's hard to have a conversation here because there's so much lag. So the back and forth is always really slow. What does the channel lock option in Rapid Fire do? Jeremy Sarge asks. I believe that it disables the joystick from changing the channel, so that you can't accidentally bump the joystick and change the channel. Chris Whitehead wants to know Jumper T16 with Hall sensor gimbals or Taranis X90 Plus SE 2019. Chris Whitehead, I am not a fan of the fact that FreeSky is going out of their way to lock Crossfire out. I don't. For example, they have removed the Crossfire folder from the Lewis script, from the SD card contents, so that if you do want to use Crossfire with your newer Taranis radio, you have to get that from somewhere else. Just seems really petty. I understand they're in competition, but it just seems like a really cheap way to inconvenience your customers. I still fly the Taranis X90 SE as my daily driver. I may be moving over to the T16. I'm still deciding. Like, I really wish that the multi-protocol module was internal, but I may just do that mod myself and then switch over. I hesitate to buy the new Access radios from FreeSky because they don't support the D8 protocol, and I still have many quads that run D8 receivers. You can get an external module that runs it, but what a pain in the ass. With the Jumper T16, you don't get the new Access protocol with the over-the-air updates, though. So as somebody who runs Crossfire, the advantages of the Access protocol, like the over-the-air firmware updates, don't really, I mean, I already have that because I run Crossfire on many of my quads. So you have to decide how much you value the Access firmware and the features of the new FreeSky Access firmware versus how much you care about the fact that they're trying to nerf Crossfire. Like, do you need to do the inverter mod on the new Taranis X90 Plus SE? Did they change it so that it doesn't work with Crossfire? I haven't verified that. I don't know who has, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did. Let's see what's going on with Bob here. You did change the motors, Bob. Yeah. I mean, Bob, can we just talk about this in email? I mean, it's going to, anything that requires like a lot of back and forth is not a great topic for a live stream, as you can see. Because the messages go by so fast and I miss them and it takes 5 minutes for them to, because of the latency. It's not a great topic for a live stream if we need to do a lot of back and forth. So let's just keep talking about it in email, Bob. Tony Stefan, what can I do when my copter does weird noises on a punch out? I don't know what to do. It depends on what the noise is, Tony, but the number two things, it could be excess P gain or excess D gain. One thing you can do if you get high throttle oscillation only is use the TPA function that stands for throttle PID attenuation, and it reduces your PIDs at high throttle. So if you look in the PID tuning tab at the TPA parameter, you want to see if it's lower than like 0.5, you can raise that parameter some and see if it helps. The other thing you can do is just lower the P gain and or the D gain. That would be things to try. Controller man Dan is trying to figure out my email address. It's just joshuabardwell@gmail.com. That's all it is. It's not a secret. What are you talking about there, Mr. Tux? Koopa FPV says Bob should just keep replacing everything till it's fixed. That, I mean, here's the thing. Like there are some good suggestions in the chat. Spin each motor one at a time using the motors tab and see which one makes the noise. That's a very, very good suggestion. At the end of the day, when your shit went in the water, it's effed up. And you're going to just have to figure out what's effed up and replace it. That's the bottom line. Thank you, Bob Men, for €2. Sam says he got the X-Class working after the stuttering motor. It was an APD ESC fault. They replaced it, sent another one. Yeah, APD, glad to hear that APD took care of you, Sam. Those ESCs are not cheap. They're like $100 a piece. Definitely make sure you get that capacitor soldered on correctly, because that'll toast your ESC faster than you can say spit. I actually, a little update on my Beast class. Where's it been? I haven't trusted it ever since the motor's desynced, and it still doesn't. When I punch the throttle, it goes as if a motor was spinning up slowly. I'm going to be, and I tried PID tuning it, but the bottom line, it feels like one of my motors is still messed up. I'm actually going to be swapping out the Polar motors for Arcean power motors. That's what Catalyst has moved to, and they say they prefer them to the Polar motors now. So hopefully we get these motors on here. We're also going to be trying these new Gemfan props for Beast Class. They're supposed to be the first, like, I think HQ also has some Beast Class props, so I shouldn't say the first, but Catalyst Machine Works is a big fan of these props specifically designed for Beast Class quads, not for, right now everybody's using airplane props. Well, maybe not everybody, but these Gemfan props are specifically designed for Beast Class. Super exciting to try those out. So that'll be coming soon. 01 Bletch says, what about Betaflight dropping 32K support? Is F7 now obsolete? No, absolutely not. 01 Bletch, like if you're doing the RPM filtering stuff that's coming in Betaflight 4.1, to run that at 8K, you need an F7. So as long as there's processor cycles, we'll figure out something to do with them. William Barlow, with all the toothpicks on the market, what do you recommend? There are too many of them out, and I haven't tried them all yet. I would recommend whichever Bob Rugi likes. whichever Kebab likes. I hear that Kebab worked on the Diatone one, so maybe that's the one. Hypermotor. Beast Class is a joke. It will be gone soon. Why you gotta hate Hypermotor? Why you gotta hate? I mean, I'm gonna keep flying mine. I will say this. I think that Catalyst was hoping that by introducing Beast Class quads, they could inspire kind of a new thing aside of X Class. And I think probably Beast Class hasn't taken off as much as they were hoping. That X Class, there's just enough people out there who want to build really big quads to keep X Class going. It may be that Beast Class is never going to fully take off, but I'm super happy with mine. Anton Jewel wants to know how to turn on acro mode on a FlySky FSI6 controller. Anton, the controller doesn't turn on acro mode, the quad does. But at the end of the day, Anton, if you just arm the quad and you don't have any auto level mode active, that's angle mode or acro mode. People are talking about in the Discord, talking about the Emax Freestyle. Is the Freestyle a toothpick? That's the question. What is a toothpick anymore? It's an open prop 2-inch, but then some of them are 2.5-inch. So what's a toothpick? What's the definition? Chris E wants to know if people are still having problems with Betaflight 4. Betaflight 4.02 and beyond are pretty solid, not really burning motors and stuff like 4.00 was. So I think you're okay there, Chris E. But if you're happy, then just keep flying what you're flying. What's the difference in all the modes, asks Jason Peters. Well, angle mode auto levels the quad when you center the stick. Acro mode, when you center the stick, the quad stops moving, but it holds its attitude. So if it's pitched forward, it stays pitched forward. 01 Blesh says toothpick sub 80 grams. Yeah, the original toothpick was like a Mobula. It was a Mobula that they converted to an open open prop and 2-inch props. It was super light. You look at this guy and go, this is a 4S, weighs whatever, 120 grams or so. I don't know what it is. But, like, is that a toothpick? Yeah. Jack Dobsha, I have not tried a DJI Osmo. Emoticons. Donation ignored emoticons. Did I ignore your donation, dude? I don't see a super chat from you, if that's what you mean. I do miss a super chat every now and then. Let's see. Ian F says Beast Class and X Class are too expensive. You're not wrong, Ian. They are very expensive. There's always going to be somebody out there with enough money to make that worth it. Sasha Pupuyang, I have a flight controller from you. It's new. No LED is lit when it's on the USB cable. Can you save it? Probably not, Sasha. If it doesn't light from the USB, then it's probably dead. I would recommend you email support@racedayquads.com. They do the customer support for my flight controller. If you got a dead one, then they will surely replace it. Super chat was from Chris Whitehead. Chris Whitehead, Chris Whitehead, thank you for £2. Chris says, thanks for your time, JB. Bob Men, I got you, Bob. I don't always, if the super chat doesn't contain a question, I don't always read every single one of them. I appreciate every single one of them, but sometimes the chat just gets full of me reading people's names, and I don't know. I guess that's what you want out of it. But sometimes I just want to focus on the questions. Bad Dog McGinty trying to bind trash can. First red flag as it says, warning, no gyro ACC found. Bad Dog McGinty, go to the CLI and type status and just make sure that that's not the GUI freaking out. If the status says no gyro, then either your flight controller is dead, or because it's a trash can, the Crazy Bee flight controller in the trash can, there's like 5 different targets for it. You could have flashed the wrong target. If you flash the wrong target, sometimes you'll get no gyro. EBR FPV, what's my go-to freestyle prop? EBR, right now the props I'm liking the most are the Gem Fan 51499 and 51466. Those are the ones I'm loving right now. Yep. Gary Weatherford, thank you for $5. My JBF4 USB port fell off when trying to plug in. Is it going to be covered under a warranty from Rotor Riot? Also, when's your F7 coming out? The only way to know if something's covered under warranty is to ask. Please don't hesitate to ask. Contact support, tell them your situation, and ask them if it's covered. They tend, good companies like Race Day Quads, Rotor Riot, Get FPV, and many others, too many others to name. Good companies like those definitely are pretty generous most of the time with the warranty policy. Rotor Riot actually has a thing called the short warranty, where once a year you get one free sort of warranty replacement. Terms and conditions apply. Basically, if you just stick your soldering iron through it and burn a hole in it, they'll replace it for you. It's called so with Rotor Riot, at the very least, you should be able to take advantage of the short warranty if you haven't already, but they may decide that a USB port popping off is covered. You got to just ask. Also, when is my F7 coming out? When it's ready. Soon. Prototypes are in the hands of testers, and assuming that that'll be a couple weeks, if that all goes well, I think we're going to pull the trigger on the first order of several hundreds. And they should be in stores in, I think the earliest they could be in stores would be about 2 months. But that would be my guess. Shea Music, thanks for $5. My Seal Racing F7 turns on, but the VTX gets no power, and the last 2 startup tones are not present. If the last 2 startup tones are not present, then it means the ESC is not seeing signal from the flight controller. The VTX is not powering on. I'm going to guess that means that the voltage regulator is dead as well. So I think your flight controller is not powered up. or it's damaged or something. It works normally when USB is plugged in. How is the VTX getting power from USB? That doesn't make any sense. Shea Music. That something doesn't add up in your story, Shea Music. In the Discord, Bismar is talking about some of the Betaflight devs have been doing customer support on Facebook for the last few months, and Bismar feels like that means that they have a better sense of the kind of problems that real users are encountering, and maybe that Betaflight 4.1 will take some of that into account. It's exciting. Let's see here. Chamber wants to know why the DRL pilots have a wire plugged into their head tracker port. Chamber, I'm pretty sure that wire is not just the head tracker, but it also can like power the goggles and stuff. I would be really surprised if they were actually using the head tracker. Let's see here. Thanks for $2, Cotis. Cotis says, don't read my super chat out loud, but just for you, I'm going to do it. Colin Taylor, thanks for $2. Beta 75X syncs in hover. Okay, in motor test. Well, I mean, it syncs in hover, but if it's syncing, you're not hovering. So why don't you just raise the throttle? Colin Taylor. Are you saying that you raise the throttle and even with the throttle up, it still won't maintain altitude? Give me more info, Colin. Ricky Church, thanks for $5. Matt RC, thanks for $5. Let's see. What happened to Boris B, Viron W? I don't know what happened. I mean, you can look on GitHub and see the last time he did a commit. I think he's mostly dropped out of active development. He was the one who sort of kicked the project off, but that's the beauty of an open source project like this, is that as one developer moves on with their life, other developers can come in and the project doesn't have to die. It's one of the strongest points of Betaflight. Like if you look at Butterflight and Helio, those are two projects that very, very much hinged on just a few people. Look at the Butterflight, even Flight 1. Flight 1 has done a pretty good job of sustaining themselves in the face of sort of roadblocks. But if you look at projects like Helio and Butterflight, it's very hard when a project is dependent on just one or two coders for it to survive for long, especially if there's some kind of an issue. Whereas with the Betaflight project, there's so many contributors, it feels like it has a sort of stability and longevity that other projects may be missing. Kyle K says Boris is still around. He approved a commit of mine back in April. Interesting. Still there, huh? Let's see here, guys. All right, now. No spoilers, no spoilers. All right, guys, it is 2:59 p.m. We're coming up on 3 p.m. That's going to do it for the live stream. Please definitely come back tomorrow, 6 p.m. My normal Q&A live stream will be at 8 p.m. tomorrow. 6 p.m., me and Vanover are going to watch. I'm not going to watch it. It'll be my first time watching it. We're going to watch his first DRL experience. We're going to do a little behind-the-scenes Q&A. Joshua, I was like, let's not just do a reacts video. How dumb are those? But Vanover is going to jump on a live stream with me. We'll watch it together. You can ask him questions about his performance, about his experience, and looking forward to that. That'll be 6 p.m. tomorrow right here on the channel. 8 p.m. No spoilers. Oh, no, it's too late. Spoilers. 8 p.m. will be my normal Q&A live stream. I will see you guys there. Thank you for coming out. Thanks for everyone who supported me. Thank you to my patrons in the Discord. Thanks to everybody who gave super chats. Thanks to everyone who participated. Thanks to you guys who answer questions in the chat when I'm just babbling on. I really appreciate you. The goal at the end of the day is to make me look as good as possible. No, the goal at the end of the day is to help people answer their questions, solve their problems, and everybody out there who is helping in that. I can't do it all by myself, of course, so thank you guys as well. That's going to do it for the live stream. Later, everybody. Happy flying. I'm going to wait so it doesn't cut off the DVR.